Madison Square Garden, best card of the year, November 15th, UFC 322, GM3, Gerald Meerschaert fighting this time around. Gerald, how we doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you been?
I've been good, man. Been good. Talking to you fighters is always a treat. So glad to be here for this one, man. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is, throughout your illustrious career, your first fight at Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Now, you're going to be asked this 3 million times in the lead up, but hopefully I'm the first. Is that special at all? Is that like monumental?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the hallowed places that, not just combat sports, but entertainment in general has taken place. Like that's a dream for a lot of people. Like even outside of New York, is to perform at Madison Square Garden. So it's going to be cool.
Have you even ever been there at all or not? Completely stranger?
I don't think so. I fought in Boston before.
Yep. 292, I
Uh,
believe.
yeah, and I've cornered in Boston. I don't ever think I've been to MSG. So yeah, I think it'll be my first time being there and first time fighting there.
Well, awesome, man. Looking forward to it. I will hopefully be in the building as well. Before we move on to the future and the present, what's going to be, I do have to ask journalistically about some of the past. Specifically, this is the
Mhm.
first three-fight skid you've been on in your entire career. I'm wondering what that does for your motivation, your attitude heading into this fight.
Uh, I mean, if anything, it's more fuel to the fire. It's like you said, I never had a three fight losing streak before. Uh, it's definitely not a great spot to be in. I don't think. I'm
Fair?
not like enjoying it in any terms or anything like that. But I will say I try to look at it as objectively as I can. Like the fight with DeRitter, ultimately I got tapped out, but it wasn't. I didn't look bad in that fight. I didn't look terrible against Tavares. Obviously, like the last one out, I looked like dog shit. So I mean, it is what it is. Like we're call a spade a spade. Like I've definitely had better nights, but so it's not like I've had three awful performances in a row, but no matter what, it's three losses. So it's like, don't beat yourself up too much, but also don't take it for granted that, like, I think because of what I've done throughout my career in the UFC, I got a couple records and put on some really good fights. I've beaten some guys I shouldn't have beaten. I think that's why they're giving me, a chance when a lot of other guys go 0-2 and they kind of, they get their walking papers and
Right.
I'm getting another shot. So, I got to take that for what it's worth and make sure I go out there and do my job.
And whenever I talk to fighters, every fight in their mind is a must win, right? There's physical implications on the line as well as career implications. But I'm curious, like, has UFC or even yourself, like, are you feeling this is a must win in terms of your contract and staying with the UFC? Or, like you said, you think your legacy and what you've done with the promotion gives you some leeway there?
I mean, I think it gave me some leeway as far as getting another opportunity this time, but I would think this one is like, uh, if I had an amazing fight and lost a razor thin decision, but even then, it's kind of like, four losses in a row doesn't look good. And it's not like other guys have had more and stuck around, but, I don't want to be in that position anyway. You know what I'm saying?
You
So
don't want
I
to
would,
BJ Pennant.
no, no. And I definitely, I don't want to even like have to think about that. So I'm just focused on winning and making sure I stay with the company and like, it is what it is. And that's another thing too, is I saw, like you try to stay offline as much as you can, but I saw some stuff about that guy should retire, or people joking about me getting cut. And it's like, I get like that, if you only watch pay-per-view events, like, and I looked bad in that one, like, sure, but uh, at the risk of feeding the trolls, like, don't be a casual if you're going to call that out. Like, I have, I've had some good fights, and it's never that, I've never looked like, super like fast twitch or athletic, but I always come to fight, and it's not like my, outside of the last fight, it's not like my performance has been like absolutely terrible. So, and I mean, if anyone's like, oh, it's like, oh, he looked slow, he looked this, he looked that, it's like you've been saying that since the entire time I've been in the UFC. So it's like I don't think I've gotten any slower, but I haven't gotten any faster. Like it's just that's how I fight, man. Like I don't know what to tell you.
And this question isn't even to do with like your current spot. I ask a lot of fighters this just because of how much is going on outside of the UFC, all these different promotions, all these different styles and rule sets. Like I know you said recently in interviews you're not even thinking about retirement yet, but is that like contingent with the UFC? Like, are you looking to fight UFC until you're done, or are there other avenues you would entertain, even if that's like a circus match to get paid a lot of money type of thing?
I mean, I would like to retire in the UFC and not have to do anything else. Uh, if someone approached me after it was all said and done and was like, you can do some boxing match or weird thing against a YouTube influencer for millions of dollars, it'd be really hard to say no. Like, just being honest, I don't
Yep.
think I'm the person that would happen to anyway. So I'm not like too concerned about that, if we're being honest. But yeah, I don't really want to have to worry about going anywhere else. So that's always been the plan. Is like, I fought for 10 years and had almost over 30 fights before I got to the UFC. So it's like once I got here, it's like this is where I want to make a name for myself and go as high as I can go. And when I have to retire, I want to be the one deciding that I'm done, and not be served papers and have to be forced to walk away. So hopefully I get another little win streak going and see how far I can take this. And when I'm ready to call it, then I can have my final fight in the UFC and be done.
And that's a good segue to my next question too, because I'm curious now, like in essence, what are you fighting for now? I get that this fight is very much so like you're going to get that win so you can get more on the contract and more UFC fights. But in general, like at this point in your career, are you fighting for, legacy and belt, money, just to have fun, all of the above? What are your thoughts?
Kind of all of it. I mean, I'm definitely not anywhere close to title contention, obviously, if anyone's paid attention to the rankings. But that being said, if I went on a 3-fight impressive win streak, I could at the very least get ranked. And, the division's always up in the air, so you never know what can happen. Obviously, it's not like I don't have a direct path in my head to that right now. And, like, it would be hard to draw one up, even if you asked me. But it's not that you're never not trying to get the belt, and no fighter, like, call me delusional or not, no fighter believes that they couldn't be the best in the world given the right circumstances.
You have
Um,
to, right?
yeah. If I didn't think and there's the other thing too is like I still train with a lot of guys that are like at the
Yeah.
top. Like I train with Blah all the time. Brendan Allen was with us for his camp, and he's ranked pretty high up there and has been up there for a while. And like uh, those are my guys, and I've been hanging with them forever. So if I can do it in the gym, why not in the cage? You know what I mean? So that's definitely part of it. I would certainly like to get ranked at least once before I retire. And there's a couple little things like I've got the submission record, I got the finish record. I think one or two more, and I'd be tied for like second or third for all-time submissions.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm 4 behind Oliveira for overall, so it's not too many. I mean, I feel like I could fight and get at least 4 more submissions before I retire. So those are two little ones, they're a little bit closer that I would like to get to. But obviously, yeah, they pay me well, and I enjoy what I do. And fans, as much as they go back and forth and talk shit, they always love to see me weather a storm and come back in the third round. So I'm enjoying it, and my body hasn't fallen apart yet. So I feel like I got a few more good years in me, and we'll see what we can make happen.
Well, Kyle Daukaus up first. This is a fight I love on paper. Think it's got banger written all over it. What are your thoughts on Kyle? What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, he's looked great lately, man. Like his I actually cornered Brendan against him for Brendan's first UFC fight. I forget if it was his first UFC fight or not, but he's very long, very rangy. I think especially that last win, but his last little run in CFFC has done nothing but build his confidence.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be, maybe before watching some of the fights in his first stint, you could see he was a little bit apprehensive maybe, or maybe didn't believe in his skill set as much as he does now. But now it's like, you just got done basically beating up the last four guys, and at least the last two, if I remember correctly, his last CFFC one, he like basically starched the guy with a left.
That was the elbows.
Yeah, but he dropped him with a clean punch, and then his last fight in China, Michel Pereira obviously didn't do a great job with his defense and kind of just moved into it, but he stayed in the pocket and just threw that hook and cracked him. So, his confidence is through the roof right now. He's looking good. He's performing well in chaos. It's definitely – and that's a fight where, Pereira, he either was ranked or has been ranked before, and he's coming back, on a short notice, I guess, the second debut match and getting the contract back. So I know he's going to be hungry. He's going to be extra confident. He doesn't want to get cut again. I certainly don't want to get cut at all. So, it's pretty much two guys fighting for our job out there.
And you fought Petrosky, Pfeiffer. They train together, and Marquez. Kyle doesn't train with them, but he's like, 20 minutes down the road, also in Philly. You got some beef with Philly, bro? What's up?
Dude, I got no. You're talking to the wrong guy if you think I'm the person that gets to choose who I fight. They kind of just like, hey, do you want this or not? Which basically means shut up and fight this guy. So it's, Philly's got a lot of middleweights for some reason.
Yeah, a lot of middleweights, welterweights. It's interesting. I'm just kidding. I know you don't really have beef with Philly. But if you look at this fight, you're mentioning his power recently and his striking. I know Kyle can grapple too. You are obviously one of the best grapplers, especially, in my opinion, as the fight goes on in the UFC. So how do you see stylistically this fight going down? Do you have any sort of prediction?
Man, honestly, no. I feel like at some point we'll get tangled up. With his nickname, which a lot of people seem to forget, is the Darce. Right. Yeah, like he's got a great build for going for a Darce, and that's what I've seen in fights. Even if he gets on guys back in that turtle position, I'm sure he's got a great rear naked choke too, just given his arm length. But he likes to sit through for that Darce, and that's one of those things. If you're not prepared for it, that can really catch you off guard. And like I've been. Jack Hermanson caught me. It was more of like a modified guillotine, but like from that referee position, kind of being lazy. So that's something, I'm keeping in mind, that he doesn't go for that move specifically, but the way he sets up his darts is kind of similar to how I got caught in that fight, which is, a while ago, but still something I've been thinking about. And then, like I said, he's more confident on the feet. I can't imagine that he's going to shy away from a striking battle. He doesn't seem to be, and I haven't seen too many fights where he's like shot, like wrestler shot in, you know what I mean? Maybe when he gets cracked or something, he's dove at some legs before, but I would think if it goes to the ground, it would be the result of either someone getting dropped or me getting him to cover up enough that I see something open where I'm like, okay, this is a low risk takedown. But even then, you got to be careful, right? Because shooting on a guy that lanky, if he bends over at all, can get his arms around you. Now I got to worry about submission threats, or just worried about him wrapping me up and holding me in one spot where I can't really, it's like I get a takedown, but I can't do anything. It's like, well, what purpose does that serve?
Now, I'm actually interviewing Kyle next week at some point. I don't remember the day, but this doesn't have to be shit talk. But do you have any message you want me to relay to Kyle?
Not really. Stay healthy, I guess, because it would really suck to get to New York and like have something happen and we couldn't fight. So I guess, train hard, stay healthy. I don't know.
I imagine he'll probably have something similar. You guys are both very humble, nice guys. So be friends after the fight, but throw down during. I guess that's normally how it goes anyways. And man, with a win over Kyle, what's next for you in terms of like, do you have a timeline to return again in 2025, reset in 2026? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the last few years, it's been like 2 or 3 fights. It's been about 3 fights a year. So I would think, February or March, I'd be back in. April at the very latest. I mean, it always depends on what happens. I've been very, very fortunate, just, with how my fights have gone as far as like not getting any serious injuries, knock on wood. Like I haven't broken anything. I haven't had any bad tears. I've had some stuff get sore where I'm like, I err on the side of caution and make sure that I'm all good. But I've had some tough fights and I've fought some really tough guys, but so far nothing like that's happened. I don't plan on it happening either now. So I would think, like I said, by at least maybe February, March, depending on how everything goes. But you never know. Like you could, and it could even be something like the guy doesn't have to do something to you. You could just move hard one way or step one way and mess yourself up. Like stuff like that happens all the time. So we'll just have to see what goes down in the fight.
My only knee injury ever was a non-contact jiu-jitsu injury. So shit happens, man. Bodies are weird. My most clickbaity question of this interview is going to be right now. I know you said the ranks are who you're looking at after this one with the win, but are there any names, specific names, who you still think would be a great fight for you?
I haven't even really thought about that, to be honest. Last time I had like
focused on Kyle.
Well, yeah, I've been focused on Kyle. And that's the thing, you can't, if you have a guy that's good in front of you, you shouldn't be thinking about other names anyway. The last time I had a name in mind that I thought like people would get excited about was Paul Craig, but obviously he's long since retired. So, which is, good on him. He had a great career. Nothing but respect to that guy. But that was the last time. And I think I called him out before, but he was definitely has a bigger following, a little bit higher profile. So I understand not entertaining that if I was in that position too. But I thought like the diehards would appreciate the grappling matchup. But outside of that, I can't really think of anything, And that being said too, it's not like I'm Mr. Super Personality either. So like, people that have watched the UFC for a while or like, but watch a lot of the Apex cards or the earlier cards, they like know who I am, like a lot of the more diehard fans, but I'm not out here with my own liquor, like doing crazy stuff on social media all the time. So it's not, I'm a little too regular to be that famous, I guess.
I was going to say, you got personality. You're just humble. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But you're telling me no GM3 cigars coming soon, man?
I wish. You hook me up with a cigar maker and we'll talk later. Yeah. And I haven't got any saxophone videos in a while, so that kind of killed my algorithm too.
Oh, I forgot about the saxophone, man. That was legendary stuff, dude. GM3, my last set of questions here is about a fight that happened recently. I'm wondering if you saw Khamzat Chimaev doing what he did to DDP before the fight happened, or were you surprised?
I'll be honest. I was surprised. Yeah, I thought DDP was going to surprise a lot of people, and just like the way that like every time he had a fight, people expected him not to do well. I was like, okay, he's so big and so strong, and there's nothing. Honestly, it was nothing against Chimaev. It was just like, okay, I've seen you have issues with welterweights, and maybe maybe that just speaks to how good at grappling, Usman and Gilbert Burns are.
Sure.
But it was like, if you had, I shouldn't say trouble, but like if you held, you couldn't hold them down the same way. How are you going to hold this guy down who's like way bigger and stronger? And like sometimes, this is the thing, sometimes it's harder holding people down that don't do stuff by the book. You know what I mean? Like MMA is not the same thing as wrestling or jiu-jitsu, but that was a very good example of if this works in wrestling or jiu-jitsu, it will work in MMA. You just really have to like insist on doing this, which kind of made it why people, not that I necessarily agree, but why people are like, oh, it's kind of boring. It's like, well, in order for that thing to work, you got to do it like it's a grappling match. Because if you don't, you leave any kind of space, DDP's big ass is going to get out of there. But he was like, okay, I'm going to get this crucifix. I'm not going to land anything super damaging, but I'm going to focus on control, which was smart. And it was, very, very skillful and, just cool to watch in the sense of seeing it be implemented at that high of a level with that stylistic matchup. I understand not everyone's cup of tea, but definitely, after, because that, there's the way DDP had built himself up to that point. the way he had won his fights and his fights had went, and then going up against Chimaev, and as dominant as Chimaev has been through his run, it's like, well, you can't pick against Chimaev ever again. Like, I can't see a scenario where Chimaev's going to fight someone where I would pick against him unless it was like an actual heavyweight or something. And even then, I'd probably still pick Chimaev.
That's interesting you say that, because my final question was, is there a current middleweight who could beat Chimaev? Everybody's like, Sean Strickland, let's go. I don't know about that. Do you think anyone could do it?
Man, like I just said, I don't know that I would pick against Chimaev at all at this point. Nothing's impossible. People can get caught in fights all the time. It's not, and this is not to disparage anyone else in the division, or like, anyone can have their night, man. And that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't always matter who the better fighter is. It matters who's the better fighter on that night.
Yeah.
But, I don't know how you pick against somebody who's undefeated and been that dominant. Like, when you got to nitpick and look at, like, was he as dominant in each win? That's a whole other category of thing where it's like, you're really splitting hairs to like try to find a way that guy could possibly lose. So yeah, I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, Gerald, man, I appreciate your time as always. Always good catching up with you. Before I get you out of here, anything you'd like to say to all your fans before the big Madison Square Garden fight?
I think I'm the first or second fight on the card, so tune in early. It's going to start out with a bang.
Theo Vaughn will be there watching.
Absolutely. He's already there.
Hey, GM3, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, November 15th, UFC 322. Don't miss it. And come early. GM3's opening the card. Kick ass, brother.
Appreciate you, man.